Good evening and welcome to the caucus meeting of the Florence City Council. We have a discussion on the consideration of Resolution R-25-009A of the Boone County Planning Commission, recommending approval with conditions for the request of Bluegrass Canacare LLC for NKH Investment LLC owner for a zoning map amendment for a commercial 2 to commercial 3 and a conditional use permit for an approximate 0.35 acre area located at 6809 Burlington Pike, Florence, Kentucky. This was a recommendation that was had a public hearing at the Planning Commission. It was reviewed by the Planning Commission. The recommendation was sent to the Boone County, or I'm sorry, from the Boone County Planning Commission to the City of Florence Planning and Zoning Committee. Planning and Zoning Committee recommended discussion here tonight. And Mr. Morgan, if you'd like to introduce this.
Yes. So on screen, as always, I have a site vicinity map to start. We're looking at a approximate 0.35 acre site, fronts on Kentucky 18 or Burlington Pike, next to Lee's Chicken, across from the vacant Frisch's. It is a zoning map amendment request by Bluegrass Canacare LLC. The property would be rezoned from commercial 2 to commercial services. There's also a conditional use permit application that is recommended for approval by the Planning Commission. They take final action on that conditional use permit, part of the request. Again, this proposal is to allow a medical cannabis dispensary on the property, which is a former bank. If everybody remembers, back in November, the city adopted an ordinance which added definitions and regulations for cannabis businesses. So cannabis dispensaries are a conditional use in the C3 zone in the city, and are subject to the following standards, and all these have to be met. So number 1, shall only take place in an enclosed locked facility. Secondly, shall not be located within 1,000 feet of an existing elementary or secondary school or daycare center. Next one, shall not be located within 500 feet of a public park or playground. Next is 500 feet from a religious assembly facility. Next, 500 feet from a sexually oriented business. And then once we get dispensaries, if we ever do, they're not allowed within 1,000 feet of an existing dispensary. The last one gets down to the planned development zone. If one were located there, what that says is they would have to come through City Council with a change of concept development plan or concept plan request. So this was the buffer map that was prepared by the Planning Commission with all those spacing requirements. So the site meets the 1,000-foot spacing requirements from Boone County High School to the south, which is this pink line, and then TLC Learning Center to the east, which is this line. So they barely meet the 1,000-foot spacing, but they do. So they meet the requirements for spacing. As far as the zoning of the property, again, it is currently zoned commercial 2. It would be rezoned if this application is approved to commercial services, which is what the vacant Frisch's and Remke are across the street. So it's not out of character with the area. As far as the 2040 future land use map from the comprehensive plan, it forecasted for commercial uses. Aerial map of the site and adjoining area. Front facade, which is visible from 18. This is the rear of the building, which is visible from Turfway Road. Of course, adjoining properties are Lee's Chicken, the vacant Frisch's, the strip center behind it. And this is a rendering of what the building would look like. They are going to add some landscaping. This is what the signage would look like. As far as the Planning Commission, they recommended approval of this to the city with 2 conditions. They recommended that all the C3 uses be allowed. That's condition 1, that are principally permitted in addition to the cannabis dispensary. And then landscaping, as you saw in that rendering, shall be installed along the front facade of the building. They are only recommending approval of the conditional use permit if Florence City Council takes action to approve the zoning map amendment. The Planning and Zoning Committee looked at this. Their change to the conditions was number 1, instead of allowing all the C3 uses, they limited it to the ones I have lettered A through P on screen. Due to the size of the site, they felt like many were inappropriate. And we have that list if anyone wants to hear the excluded uses. But again, A through P are the ones that are permitted on site. That's all I have on this one. Glad to answer any questions.
Pat, do you have anything from the committee, or Gary?
I think I'll just add that we spent a lot of time reviewing this with the applicant, going over the requirements per the state of Kentucky for operation of this type of facility. They're pretty darn stringent. If folks have any questions about that, you really ask. I think a lot of it was brought up in the public record, but there can only be the same number of people inside as there are employees. They have to have a medical marijuana ID card to be able to be admitted into the locked building. It's not just open to the public to wander in. So it's pretty restrictive. They can't have items on display. I think there was only one thing that could be out, but everything else has to be in a vault, locked up. So it's a fairly secure facility. They don't anticipate being able to have, because of the size of the building, more than probably 6 employees at a time in the building, which would mean 6 customers would be the most. They may have some if they have the drive-through open, if they decide to open the drive-through. They could have more people making purchases, but they would be outside of the building. They would not be able to come in. Trying to think if there's anything else. Gary, do you
No
have
flags,
anything
no
else?
signs, none of that kind of
No,
stuff.
And there's no Mr. Cannabis out there or anything, They had their sign, they consider themselves more of a pharmacy. That's why there's just the medical cross on the building. So they don't promote themselves as a pot shop or anything. It's medical purposes only.
Any other discussion?
A
Ms.
quick
Cable?
question, excuse me. Hours of operation, I know right across the street, a church has a lot of traffic there. What does that look like in regards to, I think it's Seven Hills that's over there, across the street from that area?
Do they have services other than Sundays?
Yes.
That's Cristo Ray you're talking about?
I'm sorry?
Cristo Ray?
No.
No.
Seven Hills.
It's Seven Hills, and
Oh,
it's,
Seven
and
That's
it's.
way back in Kennebunk.
Yeah, and it's not way back, it's right there, and there's police officers that actually direct traffic because there is a ton of traffic around that time, and I know it's a 2-hour, it's probably a 3-hour time frame. So I was just,
You can have the applicant answer.
You guys want to answer your hours of operation?
Can you go up to the podium?
thank you, Chief.
Good afternoon, folks. So honestly, hours of operation will right now probably be the 8 a.m. to the 5 p.m. is what we plan on doing. Once again, state regulations may decrease or allow us to increase that. We're not 100% sure yet. But your typical 8 or 9 to 5 would be our hours.
Is that 7 days a week,
No, we probably won't be open on Sundays.
which is
and
when
then-
the traffic is?
Yeah, Sundays we won't, if we are, it would be like a 10 to 2 or if something like that, but it's probably going to be a Monday through Saturday for our employees' benefit as well.
I wouldn't anticipate more than 5 or 6 cars at any given time.
Yeah, and if the church is super busy, once again, touching on what Patricia said, we're only allowed to have, and we probably won't even have 6 employees to begin with. We'll probably have 4 to 5, honestly. And we're not going to open the drive-through at first. We need to kind of get acclimated to what our business is going to be like, how much traffic flow we're going to have, and things of that nature. And then once we kind of figure it out, it'll probably take us 3 to 4 months. And then after that, we'll probably have a much more of a better hours and business plan as to how we're going to operate. But overall, we're not even allowed to have any more than 4 or 5 cars in the parking lot. So, whether we like it or not. So, basically 4 in, and once one goes out, then we can have someone else come in. And the drive-through, that is going to be specifically used for online orders only. You'll make your order online, give us your card, your medical card, and your order, if you will, and then you'll get your medical marijuana, and then you'll go through the drive-through. So they're in and out. They're not staying there or congesting the parking lot either. It's a very quick transaction because it's already been ordered online as well. So
Any other questions?
Can we get both of your names for the record?
my
Yes.
name's Jason Coulter.
Ed Maynard.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. All right, Todd, next item.
Thank you.
Next item is consideration of Resolution R-25-010A of the Boone County Planning Commission, recommending approval with conditions for the request of Routine Kentucky LLC, applicant for Massive 2.0 LLC owner for a change of concept development plan and variances in a commercial services C3 district for an approximate 0.56 acre area located at 7303 Turfway Road, Florence, Kentucky. Again, this was a resolution forwarded from the Boone County Planning Commission where they did hold a public hearing, and the Boone County Planning Commission did vote to recommend approval with conditions. That request was forwarded to the city's Planning and Zoning Committee, and they have recommended that we discuss that here tonight. Mr. Morgan, if you'd like to proceed.
Thank you. On screen again, I have a site vicinity map. We're looking at a 0.56 acre site. It's located between the vacant Frisch's and the Chipotle on Turfway Road. Again, it's a change of concept plan and variances to allow a drive-through coffee shop, which would be 7 Brew Coffee. This is the concept plan that was submitted with their application. It includes a 543 square foot primary building, which is here, at 277 square foot cooler accessory building. There's 12 parking spaces, so 7 are here, 5 are in the back. Each drive-through lane, which there's 2 that you can see, can accommodate 9 vehicles. There were several variances that were analyzed and approved by the Planning Commission due to the size of the lot. So the first one, the front yard setback, was reduced from 50 feet down to 37. The perimeter buffer requirements were reduced from 10 feet down to 7, 5, and 8 on the perimeter of the site, again, for the landscape buffers. Just so everybody's aware, there was a trip generation memo submitted with the application to the Planning Commission. It showed that weekday AM peak was 26 in and 26 out. Weekday PM peak was 11 in and 22 out. And that memo concluded there was a major reduction from when Krispy Kreme used to exist and operate on the site. So these are the elevations that were submitted. This is going to look familiar because we did the store on 42 not too long ago. Again, this would match same brick, little bit of metal on it as well, but you can see predominantly brick. There is a waiver being sought because the front door is not on the front of the building. That is a requirement of section 3199 of the zoning regulations in this corridor. Planning Commission didn't have an issue with that. Again, this is their material sample board, so you can see the colors of the brick, also some of the metal that would be used on the building. The dumpster enclosure and the storage building would also match with that same brick. This is a similar 7 Brew that's in Arkansas. The zoning of the property is commercial services or C3. That zoning would not change with this application. Again, it's a change of concept plan request. As far as the topo, you can see it's 910 feet above sea level in the back of the site, goes out to 900 feet, so it drains towards Turfway Road. Future land use map forecasts the site for commercial uses. Aerial of the site and the adjoining area. Some pictures of the property, so a view of the site from Turfway Road. We're back in this part of the site. Just a close-up of the property. A view of that front driveway connection that goes over to the vacant Frisch's building. Chipotle. Turfway Road access. Of course, you would get in this left-hand turn lane, but there is a designated left-hand turn. Kentucky 18 access, so there are different ways in. So the Planning Commission voted unanimously to approve this back in early March and approve the variances. The following conditions were imposed. One was the screening of roof-mounted mechanicals on all 4 facades, and that the city of Florence would take a further look at pedestrian crosswalks and make a determination if they were needed or not. And we're going to go through that here in a second. The Planning and Zoning Committee looked at this and concluded to add an extra condition, and it's the same one on the other 7 brew, and it basically reads, change in concept plan should be required if this restaurant changes from beverage sales only to food and beverage sales. This condition is being added to allow vehicle stacking, queue links, and traffic safety in the parking lot and streets to be reevaluated based on the proposed restaurant model. This condition does not apply to prepackaged food, which is served in a wrapper and possibly heated in a microwave. The Planning and Zoning Committee also modified Condition 2 to not require ADA accessibility, and the reason being, I'm going to go back to one of these slides. This one right here, so actually let me go back here first. So the sidewalk system ends here. Of course, this is the Remke property, and that sidewalk would have to go through this island. So there was really no way with the slopes of the property to do a handicapped route that would meet ADA standards. So again, this is the Remke property. We can't require conditions on that property, and this is too steep. So for that reason, the P&Z committee determined that that sidewalk connection should not be required. That's what the second condition says. And that's all I have.
Is there any discussion or questions? Ms. Cable?
Sorry, I have to again, because both of the
Can you pull your mic
discussions
down?
we've
Thank you.
spoken about today are literally right next to each other. And so my question then becomes, on Sunday, when Seven Hills lets out and traffic is a mess right there, what does that look like on a Sunday when people are going from church to get coffee? Or even the residents that live in that area trying to get into their homes because of the traffic for the new 2 locations that are going literally right next to each other.
Was there a traffic study done?
Yeah, there
Was there
was-
traffic report regarding this location?
Yeah, once again, it was viewed as a major, so I have it up in that top right-hand corner of that slide that's on screen. It talked about what the weekday, not the weekend, not during church. So I'm not sure if it addressed that, so I don't know if the applicant is here.
Doesn't appear to be. Oh, yeah, yes, okay.
Oh, I didn't see you.
Can you talk about your, I'm sorry, right here.
Go ahead.
Can you talk about your traffic pattern usually on a Sunday? Is that off-peak for you?
Typically 10 to 11:30 would be a little bit of a peak time, but after that is one of those slower days. So basically just customers before church service, but after that it's pretty slow.
Okay, any other questions?
I think the exit back to Turfway is, or back to Turfway is a right out only, correct?
You have that
Yes.
option, but you also have the option to get back onto 18 from.
Right, you can go through the other side to access. And I think if people are coming from the church, they're coming they would come straight across on 18 and come into I can't imagine you'd go down and turn left into it. You can, but I just go straight. Yeah, I just go straight.
I just know the traffic patterns,
Yeah.
and I just know how it gets very congested.
Yes, it
on
does.
Sunday.
Yes, it
Very
does.
congested.
You just don't go that way.
Any other
Back
questions?
there, maybe at you. You don't even have to have that.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Next, we have the mayor's report. Just a reminder, city offices will be closed on Friday for Good Friday, April 17th. Spring cleanup week begins Monday, April 21st, and runs through Sunday, April 27th. As a Florence resident, you may bring your unwanted trash and debris, excluding hazardous waste, to the Public Services Facility located at 7850 Tanners Lane for disposal. You must show proof of residency. You can call our Public Services Department at 859-647-5416 for additional information. The Florence Police Department is participating in the National Prescription Drug Take Back Day, Saturday, April 26th from 10 to 2. There will be 2 drop-off locations, the north parking lot of the Florence Government Center and the Florence Kroger Marketplace, which is on 7685 Mall Road. No liquid, needles, ointments, or syringes are accepted. Call the Florence Police Department at 859-647-5420 for additional information. The Florence Aquatic Center discounted memberships are on sale now. You can purchase online on the city website. If you prefer to purchase in person, you can purchase the memberships at the Florence Aquatic Center April 28th through April 30th from 3:30 to 7 p.m. Applications are still open for the 2nd Annual Florence Public Works Academy running from June 9th through July 25th, 2025. This application deadline is May 9th. Contact the Public Services Department at 859-647-5416 for more information. Our citywide photo contest begins May 1st and runs through May 15th. You can email your photos to photocontest@florence-ky.gov. Contact the Administration Department at 859-647-8177 for more information. The City of Florence is now accepting application for participants in the upcoming Memorial Day Parade taking place on Monday, May 26th, that is Memorial Day. The parade will begin at 10 a.m. at Boone County High School and conclude at the Florence Government Center. Following the parade, a Memorial Day ceremony will be held at the Boone County Veterans Memorial located at the Florence Government Center. The deadline to register for parade entry is Friday, May 9th. To apply or learn more, visit the City of Florence website or contact Community Services Coordinator Tina Benjamin at 859-647-5425. Is there anyone on council who desires recognition? Any department heads? Chief Mallory.
Thanks, Mayor. I just wanted to mention a couple things that went on today. First of all, they did a retirement luncheon for Sheriff Helmig out at the county after a long, distinguished career with serving the citizens of the county. He is retiring, and Les Hill is taking his place. So that went on today. And also, they had a visitation for Tim Chesser, who did over 20 years of service for the Florence Police Department and retired as lieutenant back in '07, and he went on to work for several other agencies, Grant County, Kenton County. So if you would, just keep his family in your thoughts and prayers, please. Thank you.
And then you had an officer recognized?
Yes, Tyler Jackson was recognized down at Keeneland on Sunday. Keeneland every spring and fall does a Heroes Day where they give free admission to police, fire, military, nurses, and they nominated Tyler for recognition. So they took him down in the winner's circle after the first race and presented him with a cup with his engraved everything on. So it was a very nice ceremony for him.
Very good, thank you. Any other department heads? Anyone in the audience desire recognition? And we are going to be having a public hearing on solar panels and our solar energy. So if there's comments regarding that, we'll have you wait and do that then. But if it's something other than that, come on up.
I'm a member of the Seven Hills Church and have been since 2009. And I can speak to activity levels, and that would be my only purpose in standing before you today, is to speak about what takes place at our church throughout the week. And if you're interested, I will share that with you. And if there's no interest in that, then I can sit back down.
Well, thank you for coming up and being a resource. We appreciate that.
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions for him?
I just want to
If
say I
you'd say
didn't.
your name, please, by the way.
Sure, it's Robert E. Surgent. I've actually had the privilege of speaking with you before about another matter, but
Yes.
I hadn't come tonight to speak directly to any of these businesses. But when I heard discussion about my church and how active it is, I thought perhaps I should chime in. The auditorium seats 2,500. Our main location is in Florence. We also have 4 other locations. And young people are bused into the Florence location. We'll have 1,000 young people on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night. The church is busy on Sunday. We have 3 services on Sunday. The main auditorium seats 2,500. Chief can certainly speak to the police presence along Turfway, assisting our members in and out of the parking lots. We've had services and programs in the Central Bank location. So it's a very, very large, active church that brings in thousands of people into the Florence community. And we're increasing heaven one person at a time. Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
We're-
And I know you all do a lot of good things in the community, too.
Absolutely. And
We see your volunteers out helping other
We're
folks
happy
that
to-
need help.
happy to have one of the pastors on our Florence Business Council Steering Committee, so we do have a connection there. Thank you. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Ms. Whalen? Second by Mr. Nguyen. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. We will recess till 6:45 and reconvene for our public hearing.